Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Vasadi Gaur Jaya Shri Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jaya Sachi Nandana Jaya Dora Hari Sachi Jaya Dora Hari Dora Dora Hey Dora Hey Dora Hey Dora Jaya Jaya Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe Radhe Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe 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 Radha Madan Mohan Ju ki jai. Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai. Jai Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Amastotra Shri Srimad Shri Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Amastotra Shri Srimad Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Nitya Lila Param Gurudev Paramhamsa Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishna Amasto Taratara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Srila Gaura Kishodas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Baladevi Vibhushan Gauri Grantaracharya ki jai. Srila Vishnav Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Traya ki jai. Shri Krishna Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhata Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhagavata Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Arupa Nuga Guru Varga ki jai. Ananta Goda Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Gauda Premanande Hari Hari Om Adinati Mirandasya Jananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Kadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhatvaya Tharabhatvaya Namo Namaha Yam Pravajantamanapetyam Dvaipayano Viraha Rajunva Putreti Tammaya Tayo Sarvotinivistam Sarvabhutam Munimarakoshmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiktascha Karmari Tarangamadhi Vipamay Tvam Sharanam Kapana Kunde Namaste Charanarvindam Vajami Radam Aravinda Netram Smarami Radam Madhurashvatasim Madami Radam Karuna Parava Tato Namanasti Katyana Kati Anapita Chirin Chirat Kurunavaktino Kulos Samarthaitam Purnapavicho Sansvarati Shriya Adipurata Sundara Padipukanda Sakita Sadahadare Kindare Skuratu Vasachinandana Havaivasmi Najivami Paivina Itivina Yalate Panayanam Charantikam. And first of all, offering millions and millions of pranams and the Lord's feet of my beloved Gurudev. Nitya Lila Pravishna Om Astu Bharatara Shishima Shila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same again, millions and millions of times, unto the Lotus feet of our beloved Nitya Lila Pravishna Om Astu Bharatara Shishima Shila Bhaktivedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada. And unto our beloved Namo Bhaktivedanta Satchidanandana Golden Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugadaya Bhaktivedanta Thakur ki jai. And all our Rupanugadaya Vargya and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnava devotees to the Lord, I come to pronounce the Lord. continuing with our Jaiva Dharma study in chapter 22, a very elevated chapter. Can you hear me clearly? So we're on the middle section of the Falschruten. Correct? For the last sloka, which chapter are we in?
Second. Maharaj.
Can you hear me now? Better? Is it clearer? Indicate if you can't hear me clearly so we can change it and adjust it accordingly.
Jade Dvaita Gyana Hoya Chita Upadaya Krishna Bhakti Chiradina Upaya.
Such knowledge, which is solely related to the duality of this dull material world, is fit to be rejected, whereas transcendental knowledge of divine duality within the spiritual world, Chit Jagat, should be accepted forever within one's heart, both as the Upai and the Upai.
Can you hear me sufficiently? Okay.
Jiva Kabu Jada Nai Hari Kabu Nai Hari Saha Jiva Chintya Beda Beda Nai.
The Jiva is not a product of dull matter, nor is he Kevala Advaita, absolutely one in all ways with Sri Hari. The Jiva is inconceivably different and non-different from Hari.
Yes, so three things mentioned here. There's Nishta to Krishna, the nature of the Jiva, and the connection between the Jiva and Krishna. So this is, all these verses actually are like capsulations of Sambandha Gyan. When we realize our affection to Krishna, our connection with Krishna, we realize Jiva Tattva, and we realize this Achintya Beta Beta Tattva. It's okay? Okay.
Deha Kabu Jiva Nai Dara Bhogya Nai Dasya Bhoga Jiva Krishna Prabhu Bhakta Hai.
The material body should never be considered to be the Jiva, and this earth is not for the Jiva to exploit and enjoy. The Jiva Swarup is Krishna Das, and thus is meant for Krishna's enjoyment, whereas Krishna Swarup is Prabhu, Master, and Bhokta, enjoy.
Again, it's Sambandha Gyan in each particular verse that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving us. This Sambandha Gyan we've been understanding more and more clearly. Without this Sambandha Gyan, we were describing yesterday about the nature of Madhurya. If Madhurya is not focused with clear understanding of Sambandha Gyan, then it becomes like Sahajya. If there's no clarity in Sambandha Gyan. What? Is it? They can hear? What? These things were very expensive and they don't seem to be working properly. Why is that? I can't understand. Cheap. But they weren't cheap. What happened?
I just don't sort of.
Is the volume sufficient? No.
Jaiva Dharma Nahi Ache Deha Dharma Kata Nahi Ache Jiva Gyan Maya Vada Prata.
This book, entitled Jaiva Dharma, neither discusses matters related to the dead material body, nor does it propound the Mayavad doctrine of the Jiva's oneness with Brahm. Again, it's the premise of Sambandha Gyan. All of these verses are demonstrating this, the different aspects of it. So we've studied this deeply. So we should be able to appreciate the potency and strength of understanding what is Sambandha Gyan. They still can't hear me? I can't put it any higher. Every day I have it even lower.
The battery's charged? Can you hear me now? Anyway. Jiva Nitya Dharma Bhakti Tahe Jadanai Shuddha Jiva Prema Seva Phala Prayatai. The Jiva's Nitya Dharma is bhakti, devoid of material motivation. The Jiva, purified by seva, attains the fruit of that seva in the form of prem. Is it sufficiently turned up on the phone? Can they hear me now?
Some say it is good, some say it's fine.
Okay. So we're on page 506. I hope you're all able to hear. You each have to check your own devices to make sure that you're okay. So we're discussing the nature of bhav, and yesterday we spoke a lot about the natural bhav that resides in the heart, that will arise automatically by our sadhan practice, by our, it's called sadhan abheshja, this sadhan abhiniveshja bhav. This is what we're going to discuss today. This means the process of our sadhan. But the bhav is already there. But it will begin to manifest through our practice. It will appear that way. But actually, it's appearing by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. That is the reason for its appearance. But we have to make the effort to get the mercy of Krishna and Guru. Without making that chesta, that effort, then how can that kripa actually manifest? But ultimately, that bhav is a natural phenomena residing in the jiva, which will arise when our consciousnesses have been purified by the samvit vritti. When the samvit vritti, the cognitive faculty, is specifically purified, especially purified, then it'll enter into the heart region and mix with the hladini shakti. And then realization of these topics will come. We discussed this yesterday at quite extent. So I hope it's all clear for everybody. And gradually, things will become unfolded. So on page 508, correct?
Yes.
Halfway down. What is...
How many types of bhav are there?
Okay. How many types of bhav? Okay. Go ahead.
Brajanath.
Can they hear you?
Yes, they can. Brajanath. How many types of bhav are there? Babaji. There are two types of bhav arising from two different causes.
If they can hear you with that microphone, why can't they hear me with that microphone? And why I've got the camera so close to me, but they can hear you? It doesn't make sense. Okay.
There are two types of bhav arising from two different causes. The first is bhav that has arisen as a result of ardent spiritual practice, sadhana abhinvesh jha bhav. And the second is bhav that has arisen due to Krishna's mercy or the mercy of Krishna's bhakta, prasad jha bhav.
So there's two distinctions here. There's two terminologies. Sadhan, abhinivesh ja. This means by our practice. And there's prasadja. This means that is gifted directly by the mercy of the sadhu or Krishna in either case. That's quite easy to understand the distinction because one is sadhan and one is prasad. Okay.
Bhav that arises from the practice of sadhana is the most commonly observed. Bhav arising from special mercy is very rare.
Special mercy is very rare. it's very rare that someone will get this opportunity almost like miraculously. That will come when our previous Sukritis are very advanced, when we take birth. Then it would appear that that mercy will come very quickly by the mercy of Guru or Krishna. But generally, it's by our practice of our sadhana that the consciousness becomes purified sufficiently to allow this sangvit vritti, to this potency that's manifesting from the transcendental realm by Guru's mercy, coming into the consciousness to appreciate these topics. We're here reading about very elevated topics. Some devotees are saying, oh, this is difficult, I'm not on this level or anything. No, we're not on that level, but we are aspiring. The whole purpose of us hearing this chapter, if we're actually in every single devotee's listening ability, each devotee will have a different propensity, different adhikar. So this is all depending on our previous sanskar and sukriti, as we've explained. And if our adhikar is not so advanced, if our sukritis are not so there within us, then these topics will give us the direction where we want to place our focus. It doesn't mean that, oh, I have to quickly get this bhav. We know that we have to perform sadhana bhajan. We have to read the Srimad Bhagavatam. We have to hear the Chaitanya Charitamrita. We have to read these different scriptures. Otherwise, why are we surrounded by these beautiful scriptures? For this purpose. So, if we don't have those sukritis and sanskar, then this hearing these topics will be greatly advantageous to us because it will show us the direction very clearly. My Gurudev used to say all the time, I know you will not understand these topics, will not have realization of these topics, but at least in another lifetime, you will learn to fix the focus. If we start, because it all depends in Ragmarg on the mood of greed, lolyam, lobe, this greed, this desire, because everything in the material world even is dependent on desire. So if our desire from hearing these topics becomes attracted to wanting to enter that realm, that kingdom of Vrindavan, because this is where it begins, having the relationship with the residents of Vrindavan. First of all, am I even interested in the residents of Vrindavan, or am I only still focused on my own problems and difficulties? This world can be overwhelming with our own various problems and difficulties. But this bhav is something beyond this. So I have to look beyond the bodily conception. And we have to understand the very basic tenets and teachings of Bhagavad Gita initially, that I'm not this body. This is an error to keep thinking that I'm the mind. I'm even the subtle mind. To keep thinking that this is me, and to be spinning around like a broken record through the life in various stages of consciousness just within this bodily platform and conception. It's beyond this. So this is like the first stage, Bhagavad Gita. Dehi noshmin yata dehi komaram yogaranjana. There are so many verses in the second chapter in particular of Bhagavad Gita pointing to the fact that we're not the body. We heard in the first chapter this understanding of nishag, that it's an acquired nature, this nature that I have. It's not the real, it's nimitic, it's temporary. So these are the first points to address. And then beyond that, but we can start to move quite rapidly when we can become something satisfied with our situation and start to project and look forward. Look towards Raganuga. We're always practicing, as we've discussed many times, the precepts of Vaidhi Bhakti that were described in the 21st chapter, the 64 angas of bhakti. They have to be there like cast in stone till we leave our bodies. They will never change. Always we will have to follow very carefully the injunctions of Shastra. but the inspiration within the heart towards seva, to the residents of Vrindavan in particular. Tishtam Braje Tanuragi Janugami. Rupa Goswami is saying very clearly that to follow in the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan, this is Rag Anuga. We are Anuga. We are followers of those Ragatmikas, those realized souls in Vrindavan. So therefore, if our interest is inspired by hearing the different pastimes of Vrindavan, by hearing Krishna, for example, in Nishanta Lila, Krishna in Prata Lila, Krishna in Purvana Lila, Madhyana Lila, Apurvana Lila, all these different eightfold yamas of the day that are described beautifully in Bhajan Rahasya. Bhaktivinoda Thakur goes through each yama of the day, describing each particular time frame when Krishna is performing these so sublime, beautiful activities. And then there's the very special topic of meeting and separation, when we come even closer to the divine conjugal couple and we start to appreciate what is this distinction between meeting and separation. How is that dynamic nourishing? The separation is always nourishing the meeting. So all of these types of topics, if they become crowding in our minds and we're looking to hear about those topics, we're reading Venu Gita, we're reading Pranaya Gita, we're reading Yugal Gita, all the different Gits within the Bhagavatam, etc. That means my hunger has risen. It's a very simple process. But if no attraction has come for Vrindavan, if I'd never been to Vrindavan Prikrama, if I have no particular interest in going to Vrindavan Leela, that's no problem. Then this greed will not arise in that heart that doesn't have much interest in that realm. How can it? So this is because we're talking about Bhav here, and how is Bhav going to arise? He's going to describe different aspects of it now. Okay.
Vrajana. What is bhav arising from practice? Sadhana abhinvesh jabhav. Babaji. There are two kinds of bhav arising from practice. One on the Vidhi marg and the other on the Raganuga marg. Ruchi appears first before bhav.
So Bhav can manifest in the Vaidhi platform. This is what it's saying here. Right? You've just read it.
Yes.
Bhav can manifest even in Vaidhi Bhakti. But what type of Bhav is that? That is not the Bhav that Bhaktivinoda Thakur wants to actually gift in this particular book, that Vaidhi Bhav. He's not wanting to gift that. He's wanting to gift the conception of Braja Bhav specifically. He's not going to point us in a direction of Dwarka or Mathura. This is or Ayodhya. He's not pointing us in this direction. He's pointing us towards Vrindavan. But still, the truth that Vaidhi Bhakti, of course, it has some emotional impact on the sadhak following this very carefully. Vaidhi Marg is still understood to be very powerful, but not in the same category as Rag Marg, because it's always principled on the rules and regulations. This means it requires logic and intelligence to discern where should I place my next footstep. You understand? It's always calculating. Whereas in the Rag path, there's no calculation and there's no fear. That's the distinction. In Vaidhi Marg, there's always fear. Fear and duty are kind of like synonymous in a sense. If I'm always just performing my duty, this means I'm always quite fearful. But when it gets purified and my direct attraction to that kingdom of Vrindavan, that place of Vrindavan, and my meditation is running quickly to all the pastime places. That's why, for example, this Kartik Prikrama, which is coming up, is so essential for our devotional advancement, to purify our vision and aspiration.
Ruchi appears first before bhav, and it is followed by attachment, asakti, to Krishna, and finally rati. I consider bhav and rati to be the same because this is the opinion of the Puranas and the Shastras concerning the performance of the dramatic arts, Natya Shastras.
So it describes like this: Bhav and Rati are synonymous. They're like the same. Sometimes it'll be mentioned Rati, and sometimes it'll mention Bhav, but it's the same.
In the case of Bhav arising from Vaidhi sadhana, Shraddha comes first and then gives rise to Nishta, which in turn develops into Ruchi. However, in the case of Bhav arising from Raganuga sadhana, Ruchi is produced immediately.
So that's incredible. So the taste comes immediately if one has spontaneous attraction towards the residents of Vrindavan. If that is the focus, if that's what we have cultivated, we have opened our inquiry into Vrindavan. That really means reading the books of Rupa Goswami, of Srila Krishna's Kaviraj, Govinda Lilamrita, etc. These books are there for us to gradually absorb ourselves in. But all this takes time. This is a very high chapter, as I've said, but still it's giving us the direction for life.
Brajanath, what is Bhav arising from the mercy of Krishna or his Bhakta? Prasad Jha Bhav, Babaji. Bhav,
So this prasad jabab, like I said, is the mercy that is coming directly from Krishna or the Bhakta. And abhinivesh, sadhana,
Sadhana Abhinivesh Jha Bhav.
yes, sadhana abhinivesh jabab is that bhav that arises from our sadhana, from our practice.
What is Bhav arising from the
Yeah, bhav
mercy
arising from the mercy of
of
Krishna.
Krishna or his Bhakta? Prasad Jha Bhav, Babaji. Bhav arising from the mercy of Krishna or his Bhakta, Prasad Jha Bhav, is Bhav that occurs spontaneously without the performance of any kind of sadhana.
Amazing.
Rajanath, please explain this further. Bhabaji, Krishna's mercy is bestowed in three ways: by words, Vachika; number two, by granting vision, Alokadan; and number three, by grace manifest in the heart, Harda. Suppose that Krishna bestows his mercy upon some Brahmin by saying, O best of the twice born, may supremely auspicious, blissful, and uninterrupted bhakti arise within you. Simply by such words, Vachika Prasad Jha Bhav arises within the heart. The rishis residing in the forest had never previously seen Krishna, but when they attained his darshan, bhav arose within their hearts. Such is the power of Krishna's mercy. This is an example of bhav arising due to Krishna's granting his vision, alokadhan. Bhav that arises within the heart due to mercy is called Harda Bhav, and this is observed in the life history of Shukadev Goswami and other bhaktas. When Sri Krishna descended as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there were many instances of these three kinds of bhav arising from his mercy. One cannot count the number of people who were filled with bhav when they saw Sriman Mahaprabhu. Jagai and Madai are examples of those who obtained bhav because of the Lord's words, and Jiva Goswami obtained bhav from within his heart, Harda Bhav, by Sri Gauranga's mercy.
So we understand that most munificent avatar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it's describing his munificent mercy on the jivas to inspire them directly to the stage of bhav. This is not by their practice. Jagai and Madai had no practice. They were not practicing any sadhana at all, but by the direct darshan of Nityananda and Sachinandan Gaurahari, then that bhav arose in their hearts. It manifested in their hearts because of the darshan. And the same with the sages of Danyakaranya also. The same mercy was bestowed when they saw Lord Ram. So these are examples of prasad ja bhav, when it arises spontaneously by having direct darshan of Krishna. This actually is very exceptional. This is not most common. Most common is the abhinivesh ja sadhana, this sadhana abhinivesh ja. This is much more common, where you perform the sadhana and then the core of the heart becomes purified by that sadhana sufficiently to hold the Sangvit vritti, which manifests in the mind and then comes into the heart with the Hladini Shakti mixing. This is more common.
Brajanath, what is bhav arising from the mercy of a bhakta? Babaji. Dhruva and Prahalad obtained bhav for Bhagavan by Narada Muni's mercy, and bhav bhakti arose in the hearts of innumerable people by the mercy of Sri Rupa, Sanatana, and other associates, Parshad of Krishna.
And this bhav is still arising in the hearts of the sadhaks due to the mercy of Rupa and Sanatan. And when we read Dhruva Charita and Prahlad Charita, we can also be inspired. Dhruva Charita, we can be inspired by great enthusiasm in such a young body. And Prahlad Maharaj, such nishta. This is what his great quality is in principle. Prahlad Maharaj, his fearlessness in the attacks by his father. And he wasn't considering that because of his nishta for Krishna, that he was automatically going to be saved. He wasn't even conscious of his body. He was just believing whatever Krishna wants to do with me, if he wants to save me or if he wants to allow me to leave my body, whatever he wants to do with me, it's his prerogative. Rake Krishna Mare Krishna Rakeke. If Krishna wants to kill me, nothing can stop him from doing it. If he wants to save me, then nothing will kill me. You understand? So Prahlad Maharaj wasn't thinking that, oh, because I'm thinking of Krishna, that Krishna will save me. That's not the mood. The mood is just dependence on whatever mercy Krishna wants to bestow. That's all.
What are the symptoms of the appearance of bhav, Babaji? The following characteristics begin to manifest in the sadhak when bhav appears. Number 1, Shanti, tolerance. Number 2, Avyakta Kalatva, concern that time should not be wasted. Number 3, Virakti, detachment. 4, Man Shunyata, freedom from pride. 5, Asha Bandha, bound by hope. 6, Utkanta, deep longing. 7, Nam Gane Sada Ruchi, taste to always chant Sri Harinam. 8. Ashaktis Tad Gunakhyane, attraction for hearing about Sri Hari's transcendental qualities. And 9. Tad Vasati Stale Preeti, affection for the place of Krishna's pastimes.
So it's very wonderful meditation on this particular verse. This is coming from Rupa Goswami's description, and this is the symptoms of bhav. So we can write these down and meditate on them and aspire for them. This is our aspiration. Okay, now each one will be unpacked as we go through.
Vijay, what is Shanti, tolerance? Babaji, Shanti means that one remains peaceful even when there is cause for anger or mental agitation. Shanti may also be called Kshama. Vijay, what is Avyakta Kalatva? Concerned that time should not be wasted.
This is very important. This time not be wasted.
Babaji,
All of these are paramount. All of these qualities, these symptoms, we can meditate on. This is why they're being given, for us to focus. What are the symptoms of bhav? Oh, I don't have these symptoms. How can I cultivate these symptoms? How can I walk towards this conception? Okay.
Babaji, Avyarta Kalaka means that one does not let a moment pass in vain and thus is incessantly engaged in Hari Bhajan.
When Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati took shelter of Gorkashore Das Babaji, he stayed with him, he examined him correctly, and he concluded that there was not even a single second in the whole 24 hours when Srila Gorkashore Das Babaji Maharaj was not focused on his bhajan. Not even a single second. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was saying, if I had found one moment when he was actually distracted from his bhajan, I would not have accepted him as my beloved Gurudev. He didn't find one gap in his 24 hours practice of this bhajan. So we can aspire for this state of bhajan, that we don't distract into different areas that have no relationship with Krishna at all. Actually, a very good method of this is to make a schedule each day of what are my daily activities and how much are each of my daily activities orientated towards Krishna, to pleasing Krishna. And we should examine our lives. There has to be some systematic analysis of what we're doing in the world to bring complete sanity into our practice, etc. So we can examine from the moment we rise till the moment we take rest. And we can see all the different activities in the day. And if we begin to write a schedule, for example, then we can pack up the various gaps that might be there. And then each month we can perhaps tighten that schedule. But that way gives us something concrete to appreciate. Yes, I'm utilizing my time, this avyakta kalatva, not wasting any time. And this is a good way to do like that, where either we write it or we have it in our minds, so that it doesn't come like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm just wondering, well, what shall I do now? This is called wasting time. This means I haven't got my focus. It means I can space out, I can do this, I can do that, I can do so many distracting things from Krishna's service. But if I have all of my gaps in my day tight, even I build in my social exchanges, etc., because we have to have all of those places. We can build in my resting time, etc., all the different things we do in the day. But try to gradually tighten up that schedule. And therefore, we will become very satisfied with our activities in life and become very peaceful about the direction that we're going. Of course, there's no real peace because we're always disturbed about doing better. We always want to increase my service. There has to be that dynamic of increasing. But where does it begin? It can begin with a good schedule, and then it goes on from there, etc. This is just a practical application of this avyakta kalatva. Actually, this is just from a time management books that they have so many of them in the marketplace. The materialists also have this time management, of course, because they're only interested in material success. But it's the same effort in a sense. They're focusing their minds on their goal. So hearing these topics should be inspiring us to focus our minds on our goal. And the goal must be Bhav Bhakti. If we're practicing sadhana, if we're not focusing on Bhav Bhakti, our sadhana is zero. We've said this many times.
Vijay, please explain the meaning of Virakti, detachment. Babaji, Virakti is disinterest in sense gratification. Vijay, can those who have taken Vesh renounced order, Sannyasa Vesh or Babaji Vesh, assert that they are detached Babaji. Vesh is a matter of social etiquette. When Bhav appears,
Vesh is something external. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is calling it social etiquette. It doesn't mean that your soul has suddenly become a sannyas. I can remember when I first took this red cloth, I was confused for a few days thinking, oh, now I've become a sannyasi. And then after some days, I realized I'm still me within this body of the sannyas external. If we lose that connection with ourselves, then it's really distracting and really debilitating actually for our bhakti, because our essential identity will always remain, whatever the dress is. The dress will help us socially. If we go into the sannyas ashram, for example, then we have much more opportunity to speak about Krishna, because people will ask us directly to speak about Krishna. They will invite us to speak about Krishna. If you go in the Babaji Vesh, you will also be more um, uh, able to live that respectable, reclusive life as a Babaji, because you will have that Vesh and you won't get so much disturbed by people trying to encourage you into some material activity. So it can protect and help. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur is going to explain more here.
when Bhav appears within the heart, Ruchi for the spiritual world becomes very strong, and taste for the material world gradually diminishes.
Gradually. It doesn't happen overnight. There's no magical occurrences here. These are because we're talking about lifetimes of being in this material world. It's like if you've been very sick for many years with some type of disease, it's going to take at least some length of time, some months to cure that. It's not going to just happen overnight. So we've been very sick with this misconception that I'm the body. So that's not just going to not instantly going to walk out from that. It's a gradual purification, and it's principled on the gradual attraction, which we've just been talking about, the attraction for Vrindavan or the residents of Vrindavan. It's that attraction that's going to be the purification, not the austerity of negation. This is not going to bring the required result, actually. It's the attraction, this pravriti, this attraction to artha pravriti, not anartha nivriti, not this negative aspect. It's the positive aspect that is going to cement the heart's focus forever. That's what we want to pray for. It can't be false.
Finally, when Bhav fully manifests, taste for the mundane world becomes practically nil, shuna praya. This is called detachment, virakti.
This is the same as the verse. Moksha lukhata krit sadulabha. These are the symptoms of bhav bhakti that Rupa Goswami describes. Kleshagni shubhada. These sufferings are incinerated. This is in the stage of sadhan. In the stage of bhav, then this is moksha lukhata krit, lukutat krit. This means I have a total disdain for the path of moksha or liberation. So that's very deep, not to be looking for liberation anymore or my own happiness, but looking to realize, who am I in relationship to Krishna? And how can I bring him pleasure or Sri Radhika pleasure?
This is called detachment, virakti. A detached Vaishnava is one who has attained virakti and then takes Vaishnava Vesh to diminish his necessities. However, the Shastra do not sanction taking Vesh prior to the appearance of Bhav.
Unless the spiritual master, the spiritual master is fighting a battle against Maya. We see like Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He had a whole army. He had a whole vision of how he wanted to give Krishna consciousness to the whole world. he had to make many um, unqualified people qualified very, very quickly. So he put them into this sannyas vesh to assist him in his mission. And while he was alive, he could infuse them with so much potency. And they assisted him endlessly, opening temples, printing books, taking great responsibility. They were only young men. They weren't particularly qualified. They didn't even know really what bhav meant. But still, the spiritual master, by his potency, can support that individual. It's like on a battlefield when the various commanders and lieutenants, etc., are being killed. Then you have to take a lower ranking soldier and place him very quickly as a commander or a lieutenant. And what often happens is that once that person takes on that ashram, they can start to get mercy from Krishna, mercy from Guru, and they find they have the propensity to actually cope with that ashram and to take advantage of that ashram for their spiritual progress. So it can be very helpful. At the same time, we should understand, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying here, that you should not accept these ashrams without having the appearance of bhav. But we see most of the time, especially in the Western history, this has not happened in that way. It's happened because the spiritual master has encouraged that. These are sadguru, powerful spiritual masters. When a spiritual master is not on that same level, and if he makes sannyasis and he's not able to encourage them sufficiently, those sannyasis will probably fall down, because it's not such an easy ashram to maintain. Neither is Babaji, because it's complete negation of the material activities. And are we ready prematurely to try to do that? Some may be able to do that, but most will not be able to do that. So we depend on the mercy of Guru. And a great Guru is able to maintain the purity of his sannyasis, even when he's departed this planet. He's able to maintain the purity and vision of those sannyasis that he made by his mercy. And then eventually, those sannyasis, if they're studying sufficiently and if they're practicing correctly under guidance of other senior devotees, then they will come to these stages of bhava bhakti without any problem. Read that again. Just, however, the Shastras do not sanction taking Vesh prior to the appearance of bhav. That is not real Vesh at all.
Sriman Mahaprabhu taught this lesson to the whole world when he punished Chota Haridas.
Yes, Chota Haridas, we've already discussed many times. Chota Haridas, it's as if he wasn't ready. He was still ready to have a moment of sense gratification in glancing at the young niece of the old lady. He entertained that conception. Therefore, Mahaprabhu rejected him. So it's a very strict path indeed. It's like a razor's edge. There is great mercy to be attained, but any defect is going to immediately bring a result of having to leave that ashram. So we should be very careful. I know sometimes younger people are considering this ashram because it will give them some material prestige. This is completely on the bodily platform. But when Guru is present, he can calculate, does the person have sufficient piety internally to overcome that prestige? My Gurudev used to say that you're given the danda to beat yourself and beat all the pratishta out of yourself. That's why you have the danda, to beat them. Because naturally, when people start to glorify you, you're going to feel some pride. And the very second that pride rises, then everything is going to be lost. Because pride in what? Pride in the bodily conception, when we're not even the body, we are the spirit soul. It's completely not getting the focus right.
Vijay, what is Man Shunyata, freedom from pride? Babaji, pride, Abhiman, arises when one identifies with one's wealth, strength, beauty, high position, high caste, good family, lineage, etc. Man Shunyata means being free from pride in spite of possessing such material qualification. Padma Purana gives an excellent example of Man Shunyata. There was a wise emperor who ruled all other prominent kings. However, when by good fortune Krishna Bhakti arose within his heart, he gave up his opulence and his pride in being the emperor and maintained his life by begging in the cities of his enemies. He offered respects to all, regardless whether they were Brahmins or enemies.
Beautiful example. This is Haridas Chandra.
Vijay, what is Asha Bandha, the bondage of hope? Babaji. Asha Bandha means to engage the mind in bhajan bound by the
Unswerving.
unswerving faith that Krishna will certainly bestow his mercy upon me.
Yes. Appreciate that for a minute. Think about this before we just jump into the next one. Each quality is very profound and needs consideration and meditation. So this Ashabandha is a beautiful conception to consider always. Ashabandha, bound by hope. I'm bound by hope that my bhajan will be successful. Of course, otherwise we wouldn't be continuing. That mood of bound by hope, that this bhajan will bear the fruit that I desire, which is service to Krishna or service to Radhika directly. So Ashabandha, very powerful.
Vijay, what is Utkanta? Deep longing. Babaji. Utkanta is extreme greed to obtain one's heart's desire.
Yes. Utsaha, this
Indeed.
hunger, enthusiasm, greed. This is the backbone of Raganuga Bhakti. If there's no hunger, there's no energy, then the slightest distraction, and we'll just sit down, yeah, let's tell a story about something, let's put the mind in complete another place and have a yarn and, discuss this and remember how I did this and how I did that. Completely go into another world where there's no enthusiasm. But someone who actually is enthusiastic will try to avoid that sort of sitting back and thinking everything's okay. It's not okay. I'm in the material body, and I want to actually, in this very short, brief life, purify my misconceptions. It takes focused energy and effort and enthusiasm to do that, and this unbounded hope. All of these qualities we should individually be able to apply to our own, or see them in relationship to our situation.
What is Nam Kirtan Ruchi? Taste for chanting Sri Hari Nam. Babaji. Ruchi in Nam Kirtan means incessant engagement in Hari Nam with the faith, Vishwas, that Sri Nam Bhajan is the highest of all the many types of bhajan. Ruchi for Nam Kirtan is the key to attaining supreme auspiciousness. Another day I will explain the truth regarding Sri Harinam.
This comes in the next chapters. Okay. Yes.
Vijay, what is Asakti Stad Gunakyane? Attachment to descriptions of the transcendental qualities of Krishna. Babaji. It is said in Krishna Karnamrita, Madhuryad api maduram manmatat tasya kim api kishoram api kaishoram chaplyad api chapalam cheto bata harati hanta kim kurmaha. Sri Krishna, as the transcendental Cupid, Manmata, is sweeter than the most sweet, and his adolescence is more restless than the most restless thing. The qualities of that transcendental Cupid, which defy description, are stealing my mind. Alas, what shall I do now? No matter how much one hears about Sri Krishna's qualities, one never becomes satiated. The attachment to hearing goes on increasing incessantly, and one never stops wishing to hear more and more.
So this is the dynamic of pure hearing about Krishna's pastimes. They just are so relishable and tasty that the sadhak never wants to cease speaking about them or hearing about them or remembering them. This is actually the nature of the consciousness of that Raganuga Bhakta. He's always immersed in remembering different aspects. So he's creating an environment in his life. He's listening to some recordings. He's chanting his mala sufficiently. He's engaging in devotional service to Krishna. He's reading. He's associating with devotees. He's performing various services. He's packing his life, surrounding his life full with the support of all these different Krishna engagements. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada created such a huge playing field, we can say, of services that anybody can perform. Some people like to dig in the ground, so dig and offer all the fruits to Krishna, the vegetables to Krishna. Some people like to build, so build temples. Some people like to publish, edit, write, read, etc. Any activity we do, if we're focusing on Krishna, then we can become successful in our lives. It's this focusing on Krishna 24 hours a day that this is the nature of Bhav Bhakti, is this 24/7 focus on Krishna and incorporating these qualities into our lives. Avyakta Kalatva, for example, not wasting any time and having these ashabandha moves of this viraktiya, manasunyata, this complete detachment and focus. All of these qualities, shantiya, have a focused consciousness. Okay, we can go over these qualities many hours because they're just endless, beautiful, rich, nourishing qualities that we should try to take into our lives and imbibe. So we'll stop there for today. So Bhav Bhakti Ki Jai. Yes, the next, this Tad Vishate Stale Priti is a more lengthy description. We'll discuss that tomorrow. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, Jaiva Dharma Ki Jai, Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Vanchakalpatarubhyas Cha, Kripa Sindhaveva Cha, Patitanam Pavanivyo Vaishnavevyo Namaha. Do it.